You know what the worst part about being a military intelligence analyst for the Caldreth Empire is? It is not the long hours. It is not the terrible cafeteria food that tastes like recycled starship fuel. No, 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 the worst part is when you have to stand in front of the high command and tell them they got it completely, utterly, catastrophically wrong. My name is Vorn. Just Vorn. We do not do family names in my culture because, honestly, who has the time? I have been analyzing alien species for the Empire for about 30 of your Earth years, and in all that time I had never seen a species quite so. Well, let me just tell you the story. It started 6 months ago when our scout ships detected a tiny blue planet in the outer rim of a frankly unremarkable spiral galaxy. The initial reports came back: carbon-based life forms, primitive technology, still using combustion engines for transportation. Can you believe it? Combustion engines? We stopped using those about 4,000 years ago. The High Command practically drooled when they saw the resource scans. The planet, which the inhabitants called Earth, was absolutely loaded with rare minerals, fresh water, and a breathable atmosphere. Prime real estate in the galactic market. The fact that it was already occupied? Well, that was just a minor inconvenience. Commander Thex, may his scales rot off, stood before the War Council and declared, "This will be the easiest conquest in Imperial history. 3 days. Maximum. Their weapons are chemical-based projectiles. Their fastest vessels cannot even break their own planetary orbit without strapping themselves to controlled explosions. We will sweep in, they will surrender, and we will be back home in time for the Festival of Moons." I raised my hand. Mistake number 1. "Yes, Analyst Vorn," Thex said, his mandibles clicking with annoyance. "But, sir, I recommend we study them further before engaging. My preliminary analysis shows some unusual patterns in their historical data." Unusual patterns? He laughed, and the whole council laughed with him. "Vorn, they are barely out of their technological infancy. What could possibly be unusual about primitives who still wage wars on each other with metal tubes that throw tiny pieces of lead?" "Well, sir, that is actually part of what concerns me. They have been at war almost constantly for their entire recorded history. They fight each other over resources, ideology, territory. And sometimes just because someone looked at someone else the wrong way. They have created thousands of different ways to kill each other, and they keep innovating. Just in the last 100 years. They went from riding animals into battle to creating weapons that could destroy their entire planet multiple times over." Thix waved a dismissive claw. "All the more reason to strike now before they advance further. Fear makes species easier to control, Vorn. You should know that." I should have pushed harder. I really should have. But I am just an analyst, and Thex was the decorated war hero with 40 successful planetary conquests under his belt. Who was I to argue? The invasion fleet launched 3 weeks later. 15 destroyer-class warships, each capable of leveling a city from orbit. 5 troop carriers loaded with our finest soldiers. Support vessels, supply ships, the works. Thex commanded from the flagship, the Crimson Talon. I was assigned to the intelligence vessel, the Silent Observer, where I would monitor communications and provide tactical analysis. As we approached Earth's solar system, I ran more simulations. The numbers did not lie. On paper, this was going to be a massacre. Our shields could withstand anything they could throw at us. Our plasma weapons could cut through their strongest bunkers like they were made of paper. Our soldiers were genetically enhanced warriors who had trained their entire lives for combat. Earth's defenders? They had about 12,000 operational aircraft, most of which were subsonic. Their naval vessels were floating metal boxes that moved slower than my grandmother, and their ground forces carried weapons that we had museum exhibits about. The simulation gave them a 0.3% chance of victory. I should have paid more attention to that 0.3%. We entered their atmosphere over the continent they called North America, specifically targeting the nation known as the United States. Thex had done his homework on that one at least. Take out the largest military power first, and the rest would fold like cheap tents. Attention, inhabitants of Earth, Thex broadcast on all frequencies. His translator made him sound even more pompous than usual. "This is Commander Thex of the Caldreth Empire. Your planet now belongs to us. Surrender immediately, and we will allow you to live as servants of the Empire. Resist, and we will demonstrate the futility of opposing our might. You have one of your Earth hours to respond." The response came in 47 minutes. Not from their government, not from their military, from a radio DJ in some place called Texas. "Hey there, Space Cowboy, this is Big Rick at K-Tex, and I just got one thing to say to you and your empire." There was a pause, and then the most defiant words I have ever heard in any language. "Come and take it." Thex's scales flushed purple with rage. Fire on their capital. "Show them we are serious." The weapons officer hesitated. "Sir, there are millions of civilians in that city." I said fire. 3 plasma torpedoes streaked toward Washington, D.C. We watched on our screens as they descended. I felt sick. This was not war. This was slaughter. Then something impossible happened. The torpedoes exploded mid-air, still miles above the city. It's not from malfunction. They had been shot down, and with what we could not immediately tell, but the energy signatures were definitely human-made. "What just happened?" Thex demanded. I pulled up the data, my hands shaking slightly. "Sir, they have some kind of advanced missile defense system we did not account for." The response time was, "Sir, that should not be possible with their technology level. Then they are hiding their capabilities. All units, weapons free. Engage at will." What followed was not the clean, quick victory Thex had promised. What followed was chaos. Beautiful, terrifying, impossible chaos. The humans scrambled every aircraft they had. F-22s, F-35s, even ancient F-16s that by all rights should have been in museums. They came at us like angry insects, firing missiles that, while primitive, were numerous enough to be a genuine nuisance. Our shields held, of course, but we had to divert power to maintain them. Then one of their pilots, a woman named Lieutenant Kara Bishop, did something so insane that I am still not sure I believe it actually happened. Her aircraft was damaged, missiles expended, and she was being pursued by one of our scout ships. Instead of retreating, she accelerated, flew directly under the scout ship, and ejected. Her ejection seat rocket, that crude explosive device, punched straight through the scout ship's relatively light underbelly armor. The scout ship crashed into a forest. The pilot survived. Lieutenant Bishop parachuted down, landed in someone's backyard, asked to borrow their phone, and called for pickup. She was back in the air 3 hours later in a new aircraft. They are throwing themselves at us like they have nothing to lose. Thex roared. "Sir, I think that is exactly the point," I said quietly. "They are fighting like they have everything to lose." The ground assault went even worse. Our soldiers were superior in every measurable way, stronger, faster, better armored, better armed. But the humans? They did not fight fair. They did not follow any rules of engagement we recognized. They booby-trapped everything. They used their knowledge of the terrain. They struck from hiding and melted away before we could respond. In the city of Detroit, a place that had apparently been struggling economically for decades, the locals turned their automotive factories into weapon production facilities in under 72 hours. They started churning out modified vehicles fitted with salvaged alien weapons. Technicals, they called them. Pickup trucks with plasma cannons welded to the beds. It was crude, it was dangerous, and it was horrifyingly effective. One of our troop carriers was brought down by a teenager, a 16-year-old kid named Marcus Webb, who hacked into our communications network using equipment he built in his garage. He fed our forces false coordinates that led them straight into an ambush. When we finally traced the signal and sent soldiers to apprehend him, he had rigged his entire house with explosives. He escaped through the sewers and was never caught. But it was not just the military fighting back. It was everyone. Doctors and nurses treated wounded soldiers and then went right back to treating human casualties, never stopping, never surrendering. Engineers worked around the clock to reverse engineer our technology. Scientists shared data openly across all national boundaries, something they had apparently never done before. Hackers from every nation coordinated attacks on our systems. Farmers donated food to keep troops fed. Factory workers retooled assembly lines to produce ammunition. One woman, an elderly grandmother named Betty Russo, killed 3 of our soldiers with a shotgun when they tried to raid her farm for supplies. When reinforcements arrived, she had already disappeared into the woods with her grandchildren. She left a note on the door, sorry about the mess. "You boys picked the wrong planet, Betty. How are we losing to these primitives?" Thex screamed after 2 weeks of what was supposed to be a 3-day operation. They should be begging for mercy. They should be cowering in fear. I pulled up the casualty reports. We had lost 30% of our ground forces. 6 ships damaged badly enough to require extensive repairs. And we had barely captured any territory that we could actually hold. "Sir, I have been analyzing their response patterns," I said. "They are not fighting to win in any conventional sense. They are fighting to make conquest so costly that we give up. Every soldier we lose, they celebrate. Every ship we have to repair, they see as a victory. They are not trying to defeat us militarily. They are trying to break our will. That is absurd. We have broken entire civilizations." "Yes, sir? But those civilizations wanted to survive. These humans seem to operate on a different calculation. They would rather die free than live as slaves." A communication came in from one of their military leaders, a general named Victoria Crane. She appeared on our screens, her face streaked with dirt and blood, standing in the ruins of what had been one of our forward bases. "Commander Thex, was it? Let me explain something to you. You came to the wrong neighborhood. You think we are afraid of you? We have been afraid of each other for thousands of years. We have survived ice ages, plagues, world wars, and disco. You are just another Tuesday to us. Every human on this planet is now your enemy. Every man, woman, and child will fight you until their last breath. We do not care how advanced you are. We do not care how many ships you have. This is our planet, and you are not welcome here. So how about you tuck your tail between your legs and leave while you still can?" As the transmission cut out, Thex's mandibles were trembling with rage or fear or both. "Sir," I ventured carefully, "perhaps we should reconsider our approach." "Reconsider? We are the Caldrith Empire. We do not retreat." 3 days later, we received word that the humans had captured one of our weapons depot ships. Not destroyed, captured. They had somehow boarded it, overwhelmed the crew, and taken control. They were now using our own weapons against us. The soldier who led that raid was a former chef named Tommy Briggs. A chef. He had no military training. He just watched a lot of action movies and apparently decided that was good enough. His tactics made no sense by our standards, which is precisely why they worked. Then came the incident that changed everything. A team of human scientists, working with barely functional equipment in a basement somewhere, managed to crack our shield frequency. They broadcast the frequency on every channel they had. Within hours, every human fighter, every artillery piece, every soldier with a rifle knew exactly how to target us. Our casualties tripled overnight. Ships that had been invulnerable were suddenly taking damage. Ground forces that had been unstoppable were getting pinned down. The tide had turned, and it had turned hard. "We need reinforcements," Thex admitted finally. "Send word to the fleet. We need at least 10 more destroyer-class ships and 50,000 additional troops." I checked the calculations. "Sir, at current attrition rates, even with reinforcements, we are looking at a protracted ground war that could last years. The cost in resources and lives would be astronomical." "What are you saying, Vorn?" "I am saying, sir, that we cannot win this. It's not at any acceptable cost." Thex stared at me. Around us, the bridge crew had gone silent. No one spoke against Thex. No one questioned the Empire. "They are primitives," he said quietly. "They should not be able to do this. They are primitives with nothing left to lose and everything to fight for, I replied. That makes them the most dangerous species in the galaxy. A new transmission came through, this one from multiple sources across the planet. It was a song. The humans were broadcasting a song on every frequency. I had our linguist translate the lyrics. It was called "We Are the Champions," and it was their way of telling us that they had already won. Because they had, in a way. Even if we glassed the entire planet from orbit, even if we killed every last human, the cost would be so enormous that the Empire would never recover. We would spend decades rebuilding. And for what? A dead rock that no one could use? The final straw came when a 12-year-old girl named Emma Park hacked into Thex's personal communications and replaced all his incoming messages with videos of cats doing silly things. Cats. The psychological warfare was almost as effective as the actual warfare. "Recall all forces," Thex said finally, his voice hollow. "We are leaving." The retreat took 3 days. The humans harassed us the entire way, not to destroy us but to make sure we left. Fighter pilots followed our ships all the way to the edge of their atmosphere. Ground forces watched our evacuation sites through scopes. They wanted us to know they could hit us if they wanted, but they were letting us go. As we broke orbit, General Crane sent one final message: "Tell your friends. Tell your Empire. Tell anyone who will listen. Earth is off limits. Come back, and we will make today look like a warm-up. Have a safe trip home." Now, 6 months later, I stand before the High Command once again. They are not happy. They have lost ships, soldiers, and most importantly, prestige. Other species are questioning the Empire's might. Some are even laughing at us. Analyst Vorn, the High Chancellor, says coldly, "Your report on the Earth situation." I take a deep breath. The humans are unlike any species we have encountered. They are aggressive, innovative, and utterly fearless when defending their home. I recommend we classify Earth as a level Omega threat and establish a permanent exclusion zone around their system. Level Omega? That classification is reserved for species that pose an existential threat to the Empire. Yes, sir. That is correct. The chamber erupts in arguments. Some want to launch a full-scale invasion. Some want to negotiate. Some want to pretend the whole thing never happened. I wait for them to quiet down. Then I add one more thing. I should also note that in the 6 months since we left, the humans have advanced their technology by what should have taken them 50 years. They reverse-engineered our shields, our weapons, even our faster-than-light communications. They are currently building their first interstellar vessel. In 5 years, maybe 10, they will be out here with us. And if we are still hostile when that happens, may the stars have mercy on us all. The room goes silent, because now they understand. We did not just fail to conquer Earth. We gave them the knowledge and motivation to become a spacefaring species. We created our own worst nightmare. Somewhere out there on that little blue planet, humans are preparing for the day they leave their cradle and enter the larger galaxy. And when they do, the universe is going to learn what I learned the hard way. You can have better technology, better weapons, and better training. But none of that matters if your enemy refuses to quit. Humanity does not quit. Ever. That is their superpower. That is what makes them terrifying. And that is why I just submitted my resignation from the military and accepted a position as Earth's ambassador to the Caldreth Empire. If you cannot beat them, you might as well join them. Besides, their coffee is amazing, and they have this thing called pizza that is going to change my life. So there I was, 3 months into my new job as the first official alien ambassador to Earth, sitting in something called a coffee shop in New York City, watching the most bizarre negotiation I had ever witnessed in my entire career. Across from me sat Ambassador Helena Grant, the human chosen to represent Earth in galactic affairs. She was eating a bagel. Not just eating it, mind you, but eating it while conducting interstellar diplomacy. Crumbs were getting everywhere. She did not care. This was apparently normal. "Let me get this straight, Vorn," she said, taking another bite. "The Galactic Council wants us to sign a non-aggression pact, agree to technology restrictions, and accept observer status for a minimum of 50 years before we can even apply for membership. That is correct, Ambassador Grant. It is standard procedure for newly contacted species. She laughed. Actually laughed. Standard procedure. Right. And what happens if we say no? I shifted uncomfortably in my chair. These human furniture designs were not made for my physiology. Then you would be operating outside the protection of galactic law. Other species could potentially view you as hostile or fair game for exploitation. Fair game. She set down her bagel and leaned forward. You know what is funny about that phrase? 3 months ago, your empire thought we were fair game. How did that work out? Point taken. Painfully taken. Ambassador, I understand your frustration, but please understand the Council's position. In the history of the galaxy, no species has gone from pre-interstellar to building functional faster-than-light ships in 6 months. None. It took my people 400 years. The Zenthari took 300. You are an anomaly, and anomalies make people nervous. Good, she said simply. We should make them nervous. We are negotiating from a position of strength here, not weakness. So here is our counteroffer. We will sign a non-aggression pact with any species that wants one. We will share certain technologies in exchange for other technologies, on a case-by-case basis. But we will not accept restrictions, we will not accept observer status, and we will absolutely not wait 50 years to be taken seriously. Take it or leave it. I rubbed my temples. Or what passed for temples on my species. Helena, may I speak candidly? Please do. You are going to start a diplomatic incident that makes our invasion look like a polite misunderstanding. She grinned. Then they better learn to negotiate better. This was my life now, trying to bridge the gap between a galactic community that operated on ancient protocols and careful diplomacy, and a species that had gone from defending their planet to demanding a seat at the big kids' table in less time than it takes to properly ferment a decent batch of Caldrith wine. The real problem started 2 weeks later when Earth launched its first interstellar vessel, the UNSS Defiance. Yes, they named it Defiance. Subtle these humans were not. The ship was a beautiful disaster of human engineering and salvaged alien technology. The hull was Earth steel, reinforced with materials we had left behind. The engines were reverse-engineered from our faster-than-light drives, but somehow improved. Human engineers had looked at technology that had been perfected over thousands of years and said, yeah, but what if we did it differently? The maiden voyage was supposed to be a simple trip to Proxima Centauri and back, just to prove they could do it. Captain Jake Morrison was in command, a former Navy pilot who had personally shot down 4 of our scout ships during the invasion. His crew was a mix of scientists, engineers, and soldiers, because of course they brought soldiers on a scientific mission. I was aboard as an observer, along with representatives from 6 other species. The Galactic Council wanted witnesses to make sure the humans did not do anything crazy. We should have known better. The jump to faster than light was smooth, too smooth. Our drives usually had a transition period where passengers felt disoriented. The human modifications had somehow eliminated that. When I asked the chief engineer, a woman named Rachel Kim, how they had done it, she just shrugged and said, "We added more cushioning." More cushioning. They had solved a problem that had plagued galactic travel for millennia with more cushioning. Everything was going fine until we detected a distress signal coming from a nearby system. It was a Zenthari cargo vessel, under attack by pirates. The Zenthari were one of the major powers in the galaxy, known for their trading networks and generally peaceful nature. They were also members of the Galactic Council. "We are receiving the distress call," Morrison announced. "Zenthari ship Fortune's Grace is under attack by what looks like a marauder raiding party. 3 ships, heavily armed. The Zenthari ambassador aboard our ship, a dignified individual named Kells, looked worried. Captain Morrison, we should proceed to Proxima Centauri as planned and report this to the proper authorities." The Galactic Peacekeeping Force can respond within 12 hours. Morrison looked at him like he had just suggested abandoning a puppy on the side of the road. 12 hours? They will be dead in 2. We are responding. Captain, I interjected, this is not Earth's fight. You are not equipped for combat against marauders. They are ruthless and heavily armed. Then it is a good thing we brought guns, Morrison said. Helm, set course for the distress signal. Maximum speed. Weapons, arm, everything we have got. Marines, suit up. We are going to have company. The other ambassadors started protesting all at once. This was not proper protocol. This could start an interstellar incident. The humans were overstepping their authority. Morrison ignored all of it. With respect, ambassadors, I do not give a damn about protocol. There are people dying, and we can help. That is all that matters. If you have a problem with that, feel free to file a complaint. After we saved their lives, we dropped out of faster than light right in the middle of the fight. The Fortune's Grace was a large cargo hauler, built for transport, not combat. Its shields were failing. The 3 Marauder vessels were smaller, faster, and covered in weapons. They were taking their time, probably planning to board and loot the cargo ship once the shields failed. Then we showed up, and everything changed. The Defiance was not a warship, but the humans had armed it like one. Every weapon they could fit, they had fitted. Railguns, missile pods, energy weapons reverse-engineered from Caldreth plasma cannons. It was a flying arsenal. This is Captain Jake Morrison of the Earth vessel Defiance to Marauder ships. You have 10 seconds to break off your attack and leave, or we will make you leave. Your choice. Duh. The Marauders responded by firing on us. Wrong choice. What happened next was not a space battle in any traditional sense. It was a demonstration of human tactical thinking. Morrison did not try to outgun the Marauders. He outsmarted them. The Defiance launched a spread of missiles, far more than necessary. The Marauders focused on shooting them down, which was exactly what Morrison wanted. While their weapons were engaged with the missiles, the Defiance accelerated to ramming speed, heading straight for the largest Marauder vessel. "Captain, what are you doing?" I shouted. "Something stupid," he replied cheerfully. At the last possible second, the Defiance veered off, fired every railgun simultaneously at point-blank range, and barrel-rolled away. The Marauder ship's shields collapsed, and several hull breaches appeared. The ship went dark, drifting. The other 2 Marauder ships tried to flank us. Morrison directed the ship's systems to do something I had never seen before. He vented atmosphere from one side of the ship, using the explosive decompression to spin the Defiance around faster than the maneuvering thrusters could manage. The railguns fired again, catching the second Marauder ship before it could dodge. The third Marauder decided discretion was the better part of valor and jumped to faster than light, fleeing the system. "Damage report," Morrison ordered. "Minor hull damage, shields at 60%, no casualties," the tactical officer reported. "We used about 40% of our ammunition, though. Worth it. Hail the Zenthari ship." The Fortune's Grace responded immediately. The captain, an older Zenthari named Vex, appeared on screen. His expression was somewhere between shock and gratitude. "Captain Morrison, you just saved 47 lives, including my own. I do not know how to thank you." "No thanks necessary. Just doing the right thing. Do you need assistance with repairs? We can manage, but the gesture is appreciated. I must ask, how did you know to respond?" "We sent the distress call on standard frequencies, but Earth is not yet part of the emergency response network." Morrison smiled. "We are not officially, but we might have been monitoring all the frequencies we could access, just in case. Old Earth saying, better to ask forgiveness than permission." After we helped the Fortune's Grace stabilize their systems, we continued to Proxima Centauri. The other ambassadors were silent. They had just watched a species that was supposedly primitive execute a rescue operation that most galactic peacekeeping force units would have struggled with. Kells, the Zenthari ambassador, approached me in the observation deck later. "Lorne, I need to speak with you about what just happened." "I know. I will file a full report about the protocol violations." No, I do not care about protocol. I care about capability. The humans just engaged 3 Marauder vessels and won decisively on their first interstellar voyage with a ship they built in 6 months. Do you understand what that means? I did. It meant everything the Galactic Council feared about humanity was true. They were quick learners, fearless fighters, and they operated on a moral code that prioritized action over bureaucracy. Kells, I tried to warn the Council. I tried to tell them that humans were different. Different is an understatement. Vorn, my people have been trying to stop Marauder raids for 200 years. We have treaties, protocols, and peacekeeping forces, but we always respond after the fact. We analyze, we deliberate, we form committees. The humans just act. They see a problem, and they fix it. Consequences be damned. That impulsiveness could get them killed. Or it could be exactly what the galaxy needs. When we returned to Earth, the news of the rescue had already spread. The Zenthari had broadcast what happened across their entire network, praising the human crew. Other species were watching closely, trying to figure out what to make of these newcomers. The Galactic Council called an emergency session. I attended virtually, standing beside Ambassador Grant in a secure facility in Geneva. The council chambers appeared on the holographic display, showing representatives from 47 different species. The High Chancellor, a Vryn named Executor Tarn, addressed us first. His species had been running the council for 3,000 years. They were diplomats, philosophers, and career politicians. They did not like surprises. Ambassador Grant, Captain Morrison's actions have created a complicated situation. While the rescue of the Fortune's Grace is commendable, the use of military force without council authorization is deeply concerning. Helena smiled sweetly. The kind of smile that made me nervous. Executor Tarn, with all due respect, we did not use military force. We used defensive force to protect innocent lives from piracy. But is that not what the Galactic Peacekeeping Force is supposed to do? The Peacekeeping Force operates under strict guidelines and oversight. And how long would your oversight have taken? How many of those 47 Zenthari would have died while you were forming a committee to discuss whether to help them? Murmurs ran through the council. She was not wrong, and everyone knew it. Another council member, a hive queen named Collective Harmony, spoke up. Her species communicated through chemical signals translated to speech by their technology. The human approach is reckless. What if Captain Morrison had been killed? What if the Marauders had destroyed the Defiance? This could have sparked a larger conflict. Morrison, who was also in the facility, stepped forward. Your Majesty, I appreciate your concern, but where I come from, we have a saying. Fortune favors the bold. We saw people in danger, we had the ability to help, so we helped. If that is reckless, then I guess we are all reckless. This is not how galactic society functions, Tarn said firmly. But there are rules, procedures, chains of command. We have these systems in place for a reason, Grant leaned forward. And how well are those systems working? From what I have read, piracy has increased 17% in the last decade. Border disputes are at an all-time high. Several minor conflicts are brewing that the Council seems unable to prevent. Maybe your systems need updating. The chamber erupted. Some species agreed with Grant, others were outraged. But the Council had not been challenged like this in centuries. I watched it all unfold and realized something terrifying. The humans were not just joining galactic society, but they were going to change it, whether the Council liked it or not. Over the next few months, Earth continued its breakneck expansion into space. They built 3 more ships, established trade agreements with species who were willing to work outside Council oversight, and started a technology exchange program with the Zenthari. The Zenthari, grateful for the rescue of the Fortune's Grace, became Earth's first real ally in space. They taught humans about galactic commerce, navigation, and politics. In return, humans shared their combat tactics, their rapid manufacturing techniques, and their coffee. The Zenthari became addicted to coffee almost immediately. It was hilarious. But not everyone was happy about Earth's rise. The Krovar Dominion, a militaristic species that controlled a significant portion of the galactic arm, saw humanity as a threat. Their ambassador, a warrior named General Rax, made their position clear in a public statement. Earth is a rogue element that refuses to follow established order. They are aggressive, unpredictable, and dangerous. If they continue on this path, the Dominion will have no choice but to respond with force. Helena's response was broadcast on every major galactic network. General Rax, Earth tried being invaded once already. It did not go well for the invaders. You are welcome to try your luck, but I suggest you bring more ships than the Caldrith did. A lot more. I nearly choked on my coffee when I heard that. She was essentially daring a major galactic power to attack Earth. The scary part was, I think she meant it. Tensions escalated for weeks. The Krovar moved ships to the border of Earth's claimed space. Earth responded by launching 2 more vessels, both clearly designed for combat. The galaxy held its breath, waiting to see if the newest species would go to war with one of the oldest. Then something unexpected happened. A Krovar scout ship suffered a catastrophic engine failure deep in unclaimed space. They sent a distress signal. The nearest vessel capable of responding was the UNSS Defiance, on a routine patrol. Morrison did not hesitate. He diverted to the Krovar ship and rescued all 17 crew members, even though their government had been threatening his species for weeks. When General Rax demanded to know why humans had saved Krovar lives, Morrison gave an answer that spread across the galaxy faster than light, because they needed help, and we could provide it. If you want to be enemies, General, that is your choice. But we do not leave people to die in space, regardless of politics. The Krovar crew members backed him up. They told their people how the humans had treated them with respect, shared their food, and even fixed their ships so they could limp home. One Krovar soldier, a young warrior named Crix, said something that changed everything. They could have left us to die or taken us prisoner. Instead, they showed us honor. Perhaps we have misjudged these humans. The Krovar Dominion withdrew their ships from Earth's borders. Rax sent a private message to Morrison, which Helena shared with me. It said, "You have proven you are warriors with honor." The Dominion respects this. We will watch Earth's progress with interest. 6 months after I became ambassador, the Galactic Council finally voted on Earth's status. After hours of debate, they created a new classification just for humanity. Earth was granted what they called provisional partnership status, with full membership to be considered in 5 years instead of 50. It was unprecedented. It was also inevitable. The humans had forced the galaxy to adapt to them, not the other way around. At the celebration in Geneva, Helena pulled me aside. "Warren, I need to thank you. You did not have to take this job. You did not have to help us navigate all this political nonsense. But you did, and we appreciate it. Ambassador, I did it out of self-preservation. Someone needed to keep you from accidentally starting the next galactic war." She laughed. "Fair point. So what now? I think you can handle another year of human chaos." "Helena, I have survived combat drops, political purges, and Caldreth high cuisine. I think I can handle humanity." Famous last words, Vorn. Famous last words. She was right, of course. 3 days later, a human expedition discovered evidence of an ancient alien civilization that supposedly went extinct millions of years ago. 2 days after that, a human engineer accidentally invented a new form of shielding while trying to fix a coffee maker. The week after that, Earth announced plans to establish a colony on a previously uninhabitable world, using terraforming techniques they developed themselves. The galaxy is never going to be the same. The old powers are scrambling to keep up with the new kids who refuse to play by the old rules. Trade routes are shifting. Alliances are forming in new patterns. The entire galactic order is being reshaped by a species that was supposed to be an easy conquest. And me? Me? I am right in the middle of it all, trying to translate human audacity into diplomatic language, explaining to ancient civilizations why they need to update their thinking, and consuming alarming amounts of this coffee substance that I am definitely not addicted to. You know what the best part about being Earth's ambassador is? It is never, ever boring. Every day brings a new crisis, a new breakthrough, or a new human deciding that the impossible just means nobody has tried hard enough yet. The Caldrith Empire, my former employers, recently reached out. They want to establish formal relations with Earth, maybe sign some trade agreements. They are terrified, of course, but they are also smart enough to realize that being on humanity's good side is better than being on their bad side. Vex, the commander who led the invasion, sent me a personal message. Just 2 words, you win. I did not win anything. I just recognized reality faster than everyone else. Earth was not ready for the galaxy. But the galaxy definitely was not ready for Earth. And honestly, I cannot wait to see what happens next. The humans have a saying about that too, hold my beer and watch this. I still do not know what that means, but I have learned that when a human says it, you should probably take cover and start recording. Whatever happens next is going to be spectacular, possibly dangerous, and absolutely worth watching. Welcome to the new galactic order. Population, everyone who is smart enough to adapt. The rest will just have to catch up.